My name is Terry Hunter, 3-time Grammy nominee, and we're right here live at In Our DNA, the Hip House edition. And it's so important because hip house was such a impactful genre that started right here in Chicago. And you always hear people talk about house music, which where I'm come from, but you don't really hear people touch on hip house and what the legacy that it left, especially for new artists right now. I don't think some of them realize that they're doing house music. So it's just important to let the world know what this city has spawned. Again, another genre that was incredible, and I'm happy to be a part of this, and let's take it to the world.
Speaking of new generation, how do you think the new generation, right, will be able to embrace house music and what it's done? Like, build upon that legacy?
Really, how? Wow, that's a great question. How does young people, how would they embrace it? I think you have artists like Drake, Beyonce, a lot of the stuff that Virgil was doing before he passed, and then now Mariah Carey, which she's been doing it. There's so many artists that's doing dance music, and I think with the younger generation, they're trying to really figure out, wait a minute, this comes from this. This is not something that just started. It's been here forever. We're coming on the 40 years of house music. So I think that once you put the stuff out there, the young people are so great with investigating what came before them, and they're going to find out the true roots of where this stuff came from. Even with them rapping on it that we call hip hop, they may not call it, but that's what it is. And I think they're going to do their research and find out that house music started here. It's a genre that it's a $1 billion industry, and it's about time that America start just really giving respect back to what we put in for.
Can you talk about the intersection of house music and hip hop?
Yes.
Why they're the same and why they're so different?
So it was a long time. I remember coming up in Chicago like in the late 80s and 90s, and it was always painted to me that New Yorkers that was into hip hop didn't mess with house music. And then there was cats in Chicago was like, nah, that's that rap stuff. We don't mess with it. And I never forget, I went to New York in 1990. I went to a new music seminar that was happening. And when I went to this seminar, I saw every R&B singer, every rapper that was there. And it was like, yo, respect, we know who you are. And I'm like, how did you know who I am? I'm from Chicago. Like, and it was like, oh no, we mess with house. And later on that night, I went to a club. And it was all the rappers that was there. Then I met Jungle Brothers, and then a couple of years later, the Jungle Brothers made a huge hip house record. And then I'll never forget, I went to a club in New Jersey called the Zanzibar. And I went to go see this legendary, iconic DJ, good friend of mine, Tony Humphries. And as we were walking to the club, there was a red Mercedes-Benz sitting out in front. And it was my brother, who I miss dearly, rest in peace, Biz Markie. That was him, and I met him for the first time there, and I'm like, man, I'm a big fan. Terry Hunter, how are you? He was like, I know who you are, Terry. And just gave me love, and we became really tight after that. And when I got back to Chicago, I was like, all of y'all got it wrong. Cats in New York really mess with house music, and we need to start quitting. We don't need to tell that narrative that those two genres don't coexist, and they did. And so I think it's such an important thing that to put that out there because it's good music. We're leaving legacies here for the rest of this world. So it's important, and I'm glad that we finally doing it.
All right, last question. Why should people support this project? What are you most excited about?
Yes. I think people should support this project because, again, hip house is a genre that started in Chicago, and it did not get its just due. It was really popular. Fat Steady, Sundance, Tyree Cooper, White Knight, all of those guys made a huge impact at that time. And then it kind of fizzled out, and it felt like the world forgot about it. But DJs around the world kept it going, and it just morphed into something else. So you see the Lil Uzi Verts, you see the Megan Thee Stallion, you even see Beyonce, Drake rapping over house beats. That's hip house. So like my brother Mike Dunn said, you take the hop out and put the house in, you got hip house. And so that's why it's so important.